There are two fundamental attitudes among human beings. One type of personality searches for God and searches for spiritual development, wanting to become a better person. It is unhappiness and confusion that lead this type onto a spiritual search. The true direction may often be lost by collecting outside knowledge of spiritual theories and doctrines without taking the decisive step within one's own soul. But if the mind assimilates such knowledge as a preliminary step towards transcending the mind, if the person recognizes that the obstructions within have to be understood and dissolved so that the spiritual center can be reached, then a life in God will no longer be found contradictory to a life of personal fulfillment. The misconception that personal fulfillment is selfish and opposed to spiritual life often prevails among people who search spiritually but have not taken the final step of facing their hidden conflicts, their inner confusions. If they recognize these, it is only in theory, and they hope such defects to be dissolved by comfortable intervention of an outside God and spiritual grace. The other outlook is that life is to be lived as happily and satisfyingly as possible. I do not mean the ruthless attitude of certain spiritually undeveloped people who simply do not care for others. I refer to those who have standards of decency, who do not wish to harm others, but are not interested in spiritual pursuits. Through their intelligence, they have recognized that the problems must lie within themselves, and they take steps, possibly through the means of mundane psychology, to find and correct distortions. If the search is profound enough and thereby an inner growth is set in motion, if it does not stop halfway but is followed through, the inner center will be reached, even if one never knew it existed. In finding it, the reality of God is found. It cannot be otherwise. This inner experience will show that what is taught by conventional religion contains a great deal of truth, and yet it will be so different. It will show that finding God within does not mean to forfeit personal happiness, a misconception that is often held even by the irreligious person. The splits and divisions, the contradictions and either-ors are a product of separation, error, and confusion. In truth, all is one, but let this not be mere theory. Experience it by uncovering the center of your own being, where you truly realize yourself and discover that incompatibles become one.